And we are live on LinkedIn. We are Zooming here, and we are all good to go. Okay. All right. So thanks for the patience on your going live on LinkedIn one-on-one
Or
101 before we actually did it. So
right.
Alexis, I am over the moon that we can do this talk today. I am going to be a little like coffee here and there. I'm going to try to mute myself if I have the like the warning to do it. But Alexis was such a doll. We know each other. She's a local here with me in Savannah. And I am going to cough. Hold on one time. And we had this wonderfully scheduled live, and Alexis knew that I wasn't feeling well, and she was like, "Do you want to cancel?" And my dumb self was like, "No, I'll be fine." And then the day of, I was like, "Yeah, I actually can." And you know what's so funny is I went to go post about this on my Instagram today. The last thing I posted on my socials was that I was canceling our live. I was like, how funny that I haven't, like, that's how sick I've been, is even from bed. I've posted nothing. So I think it worked out so well that the first thing that I posted in coming back on my socials is ta-da, we rescheduled for today. So Alexis, why don't you introduce yourself? I adore you. Thank you so much for letting us reschedule, but tell the people what you do, who you are, the business that you run. And also, I always like, we're going to share this again at the end, but I feel like some people are going to be here at the beginning, some people are going to be here at the end. And if you're watching the replay, the odds are that you're going to make it to the whole thing are very slim. So if people want to reach you, what is the best way to get in touch with you? So go ahead. Yeah, tell us all
Okay,
the things.
perfect. Yeah, thank you, Amy. I appreciate you. I love you even more. So my name is Alexis Danielle. I am a Savannah local, but I am born and raised in Macon, Georgia. So shout out to being a Georgia girl. It is completely
Yeah.
raining outside. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I like the rain. Fun fact about me. So I am a business coach and consultant. I have been in entrepreneurship for a many years. I am only 32, but I've been in entrepreneurship and around entrepreneurship since I was 15. So I decided, I was like, yeah, I've helped people build businesses. I've helped
Mhm.
people run multi-million dollar businesses. I've
Mhm.
learned a lot. I've learned a lot. And
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah,
people need to start what they really have in their heart.
that's right.
I just made that up, but that was good. I might take
You're gonna, okay, good thing we're recording. You can go back and watch it.
Right. I'm about to say, y'all will see that somewhere else. Okay.
Love it.
So I am your business bestie. Everyone says that, but I'm literally your favorite niece, your favorite cousin, that you come to and you're like, I have an idea. What does this sound like? And I'm here to help.
Yes.
So yeah, you can find me anywhere, literally. So
Mhm.
Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok. Those all are different names, but most of the time you'll see me as Alexis Danielle. Okay.
I
So
love it.
on LinkedIn, I'm a little bit more professional. So you get to see my Clark Kent
Oh,
my
nice,
secret
nice,
identity,
nice.
right?
Your professional hat. Yes.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. But on social media, you're gonna see me having fun. I love a good laugh. People say I am funny. I don't know if I am. I won the senior superlative of being the most funniest.
Oh, okay.
But
Okay.
I just tell truth and whatever's happening around me, I talk about it.
I
But yeah,
love it. I
that's a little
love
bit
it.
about me.
Awesome. Perfect. Okay. Yeah. So I am, for all of you on LinkedIn, I'm going to tag Alexis in the post because I searched her by the name she told me to search and she did not come up.
Right.
So the algorithm was not algorithming on LinkedIn today. So I will make sure that I tag her for you so you can find the right Alexis. But also in LinkedIn, she's Alexis and it's underscore BDR. And I will tag her there as well so you can connect wherever you want. Okay, so I just want to say that I learned something new. So I didn't know that you love the rain because I also love the rain.
Yes.
Yeah, I sent out a newsletter to my VIP Balance Collective at the beginning of October because we were going to go to Scotland, and people hate going to Scotland because of the rain, and it's like my
Right.
favorite place because it rains all the time. So I
Yes.
hate the cold though, but yeah, like I love the rain.
Yes.
That is so
Love
funny.
it.
But I will absolutely vouch for how funny you are because I don't think you and I ever talk where I'm not just laughing my ass off. Like you and I are both pretty much straight shooters. So like what we're thinking you're gonna hear, and it's often worth listening to because if anything, we're gonna make you laugh. So
It's balance.
yeah, exactly. It's a balance. It's a balance. I love
Look.
it. Okay. So, and I did not grow up around entrepreneurship. So the one thing that I said I would never do is own a business. here we are. God has a sense of humor. But yeah, it's been a test of my faith and a stretch of my trust with finances and all of that. And so I love that you were surrounded by entrepreneurs. And I hope that what was instilled in you and the beauty that you saw of this process is something that
Yeah.
maybe my son can learn from me, where I didn't get that kind of example. There was always this fear of uncertainty and instability in business ownership. And those things do exist, but also it's a really beautiful and ugly and horrible, but also a wonderful process at the same
Right.
time. So I love that balance between it. So, what inspired you to start BDR Consultant? I know you want to help people, share what's in their heart and bring that vision to life. But with your life and your values, what did you see as an example in entrepreneurship that allowed you to take that leap and in this way? I'd love to know some of that background.
Yeah. So first and foremost, I always give her credit. She's like, no, it's not me. But my co-founder, which is her name is Lorietta Moss,
Yeah.
she has owned multiple successful businesses.
Mm.
And she actually was the first person that gave my first job at 15. Shout out to
Oh,
Georgia
I
and the work
love
permits,
that.
right?
Yes,
So she actually started
yes.
daycare when she was 19 years old. Her
Shut
dad
up.
was a amazing real estate agent. God
Oh my
rest my uncle's
gosh.
soul. We
Oh
miss him
my
so much.
gosh.
And so he invested into her and
Yeah.
was like, "Hey, we're gonna get this house. We're gonna flip it into a daycare, and it's gonna be successful." It was crazy successful,
Oh my gosh.
especially in the community that she was in. It
Yeah.
was very impoverished. It wasn't that many daycares that were learning centers. Most of them were
Mm.
just glorified daycares, truth be
Right.
told.
Right. Right.
Not to shade anybody,
No,
but
no, no. Yeah, that's
um,
true though. Yeah.
we come up from a family of educators. So my mom's an educator. Actually, all of my aunts have been in
Okay.
education.
Okay.
And so she was just like, no, we're going to build something where children can learn.
Mm.
It sparked a bug in me. It was terrible because I was the floater. If you know daycare
Right.
terms, the floater
Right.
is I just go
Yes.
wherever.
Yes.
So most times I was in the kitchen and I was running the after school program, but because I was going home with her, I got to solve the executive side of the daycare. So
Mm.
I said, oh, okay. So people are paying you money weekly. I said, wait, that's a weekly check because you're paying me every week.
Right.
Okay, so we got to make sure that the parents are coming in, paying what they need to pay, and sticking to the rules. We also need to make sure paperwork is together because the state of Georgia is regulating us.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, we got to make sure people are here at work. And so I'm watching her do all these things. And then I'm watching her build a team and I'm watching her train a staff. And I'm just like, oh,
Amazing.
this.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I was just like, okay, now meantime, my dad was a entrepreneur. He was a musician. And
Okay.
so him and his brothers got together and they are traveling through the music industry. So I'm seeing like both sides of entrepreneurship. And I'm just like, okay, all
Yeah.
right, I
Yeah.
think I
Yeah.
can do this. I think I can do this. So I'm like, okay, why not? Why not
Amazing.
actually go ahead and start entrepreneurship? So
100%.
that's what gave me the bug. I kind of put it on the back burner because life's
Yep.
right.
Yep. Absolutely.
And so I'm like, okay, my mom's like, go to school. She has a doctorate. My dad's like, you gotta go to school. And I'm like, okay, pops, I'm going to school.
Oh my gosh.
And so I started noticing my family and a lot of my friends, they will call me with all these random ideas. And so my father's side of the family, they now have coined me as Alexis.com. Because
I
I
love
always was
that.
the child where like my grandparents would call me back, something's wrong with my VCR. Oh, I'm dating
Right.
myself. But anyway, something's wrong. Something's wrong. Let's say DVD player. Something's wrong with the DVD player. It's not working. Or Christmas time, my late uncle is gonna give me his phone and be like, something's wrong with it, Alexis. And so I just started noticing I'm good at solving problems. I'm
Mm-hmm.
good at
Mm-hmm.
inspiring people and
Mm-hmm.
getting people pumped and going. And then I'm
Yeah.
good at sparking an idea into someone and giving them the confidence to say you can go do it.
I love it.
And I just ran with it
I love
and
it. I
put a
love
name on it.
it.
I've been doing it, but I just put a
Yeah.
name on it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's so crucial because so many of us have this mindset that we have to follow a certain path. We have to check off a certain boxes. We have to do the cookie cutter or in the box way, right? And I found I am guilty of that as well. Even with my son, he's 11 years old, and I'm like, well, if you want to get into a good college, and if you want, like, some of that rhetoric I'm repeating.
Yeah.
And he talked the other day. I mean, he just started middle school, right? He's 11 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And I was putting him to bed the other night and he was a little stressed. And I said, "What's on your mind, honey?" And
Mm-hmm.
he said, "I'm worried about my grades." Now, this is a kid with straight A's. He's since kindergarten never not had straight A's.
Mm-hmm.
But all the way up until middle school, he hasn't had to work for the A. And now in middle school, he's having to work for the A, right?
Yep.
And I said, "Well, why are you worried about your grades?" And he goes, "Well, I want to make sure I get into a good high school." And I was like, "Oh God." And I flat out, like, I am the first one who will own my junk. And I looked him dead in the eyes and I said, "Jace," I said, "That's
Sorry.
me. I did
Yep.
that. And I am so
Yep.
sorry." I
Yep.
was like, "You know what? You do need to graduate high school. Like, I'm not going to give you an option to not graduate high school. But, even that might look different." Right? If you need flexibility because you want to pursue a passion, which may be entrepreneurship, but it may be something else, maybe he wants to be in a band and travel around the world or whatever. I was like, "We can do
Right.
homeschool. We can do
Right.
whatever." And you automatically get enrolled in homeschool. Okay? Like,
Yep.
I approve you.
Yep.
Right? And I was like, "And maybe you don't want to go to college." I said, "Some of the most successful people created things that didn't exist before." And
Exactly.
if they said, "I need to major in this in college," how what is the right word? Constricted and restricted would their imagination and creativity and ingenuity have been? Because someone invented the internet, it didn't exist before. Someone invented cell phones, they didn't exist before,
Exactly.
right? So if you're putting yourself in your box, you may not bring the thing to the world that you were meant to bring to the world, right? So it's okay. It's okay to be open.
Yeah.
It's okay to be doing the things. So I love that you looked at your life and saw, where are my gifts? Where are my talents? What are people coming to me for? And how can I harness that? Yes, to make some money because we all have bills to pay, but
Mm-hmm.
to bring my gifts to the world, to empower others to do their gifts. Oh my God, like I'm getting chills just even saying it. I love that you saw that at a younger age. I'm about to be 43 in February next year, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm 11 years ahead of you, and just at the point where I'm like, "Damn, I got stuff to offer the world?" So kudos to you for that. Like, that's such a beautiful thing. So let me ask you this. When you are starting your business, you're getting it off the ground, especially as new entrepreneurs, right? Because that's really kind of your bread and butter. That's what you deal with.
Yes.
I had a consultation the other day with someone who wanted to start a business and was like, "Hey, Alexis, how can I connect you to?" Right? So what is like a habit or a mindset? I'm huge on mindsets that you think every entrepreneur or new business owner can adopt so that they stay focused and have the energy to go through that process because it takes a lot, and especially if you've never done it before, it's a whole nother ball of wax that without someone like you to guide people through, it can do people in before they even get started.
Right. Right. Absolutely. So funny. You said so many great things. My mind is still ticking. Fun fact about
Listen,
me as
I have to
well.
take notes when
I
you're
know.
talking because you do the
Um,
same thing.
Fun fact about me, my ADHD sometimes takes over, so I'll squirrel very quickly. So if y'all
Right,
see me
right.
looking somewhere else, it's just don't mind me. I'm here. But yeah, so one, I always tell people that come and sit down, talk to me, or they meet me in passing. We meet at a networking event. Oh my goodness, I'm in front of the train. So sorry, you guys. So anytime I'm talking to someone, I always tell them or ask them, what does it look like? Very simple.
Love
What
that.
does it look
I
like?
love that.
I have coined myself as a vision coach. I have noticed that most people end up closing their business, but especially between that 3 and 5 year, that 3 and 5 years is vicious. All right. So most people close it because they don't have the vision in their mind as to what it looks like in the end. And it's not big enough too.
Powerful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not big enough. You're
Yeah.
you're saying you want to sell 5 shirts.
Right. Right.
We could do that at the flea market. And then once you sell the 5 shirts, then what are we doing? And then most times, if you sell the 5 shirts, you're like,
Now what? Right.
now what? And then I'm not making any money. My business doesn't work.
Right. Right.
The 5 shirts was just the stepping stone.
Mm.
But if your vision was bigger to say,
Mhm.
I need to be the next Amazon of t-shirts,
Yeah, yeah.
now we got multiple things we can
Right,
create in goals, right?
right, right.
And so making that vision way bigger than life, it needs to scare you. Some people talk about it as your why, and I'd be like, oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
yeah,
I'm in network
yeah,
marketing as well. I do a couple of things. That's why I
yeah,
think I'm
yeah.
gonna just make a hat because I wear so many hats.
Master of
Um,
everything.
yeah, literally, it's like I'm really the Jill of all trades. My niece gave me that name and herself that name. But
I love it.
there is an idea that
Mhm,
needs
mhm.
to scare you. It needs to
Yeah.
keep you up at night. It needs to make you cry. It needs to make you nervous. Your butthole needs to pucker up every single time you think about it. Okay? Just saying like, oh God, I kind of that was a little spit up. That was just I feel like an infant. That's how your vision needs to be. Okay. It needs to like shake you to your core. That's what we run with. I be like, yeah, that's nice. You want to open up a store. Yeah, that's nice. You want to create your own coffee. Yeah, that's nice. You want to open up a car dealership and whatnot.
Mhm,
Even if you never hit the larger goal,
mhm, mhm.
that's going to keep you working.
Right, 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 right.
Because if you don't make it big enough, you're going to fall right up under it.
Mm,
Most times
mm.
we never hit the big goal.
Right,
But if it's not
right,
big enough, you're not going to even hit a goal that makes sense or
right,
keeps you going.
right.
Right. So,
Yeah.
and having someone around you doesn't have to be a lot of people. Okay. Most times you need like two good people
Right, right.
because one
Yep,
person might be out or they might be going through it. So
yep,
somebody else can
yep,
encourage everybody else.
yep, yep,
But a
yep.
good core people of three keeps you going.
Right,
You can't
right,
do it by yourself. It
right.
just people, a self-made millionaire, they have about
They
three other
had
people.
people. Yeah, they had
They
people.
had
They had
people for
people.
sure.
A
So
hundred
starting a
percent.
business, go with your vision. Go with a big,
Yeah.
huge vision. Take over the
Yes.
world. And then
Oh
we
my
can build from
gosh.
there.
I love it because there's so much in us and it makes sense. It's normal. It's normally healthy because our brains and our hearts and our minds, and it just started raining here, so I hope it's not too loud in the background.
Oh, here.
So okay, perfect. I have a little skylight and it's so loud
Uh-huh.
here, and I'm always worried. Okay, so that's thank you
You're
for that.
fine. You're good.
But so many times, um, if you're standing at the edge of a cliff, literally, like you're at the Grand Canyon, you have that fear, and that fear keeps you safe.
Every time.
Right? It's like, oh, okay, yeah, that was too close. Like I got a little vertigo there. Like I need to
Whoa.
step back, right? And when we're doing a new thing, and I talk about this in my coaching with my clients all the time, doing a new thing, and it may not be starting a new business, it may be re-strategizing how you do your calendar, it may be
Mm-hmm.
creating a boundary with a client, it
Mm-hmm.
may be telling your children, no, I can't do that anymore because you know you need to do this, that, or the other, and it scares you and you have that moment of vertigo and you're like, whoa, nope, that's new, that's different, nope, 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 because your brain's job and your body's job is to keep you safe. And so that's exactly what it's going to do. And there's so many moments where we have to lean into that,
Right.
because in business ownership or in doing a new thing and creating new habits and routines that are for our better, we've worked with a coach or a mentor or a trusted friend, or even sought advice from a person online that we just follow on TikTok that has
Mm-hmm.
done the things and shares their nuggets of wisdom. You now have a parachute strapped to you that you didn't have before, right? So when you take that leap in
Mm-hmm.
fear, it's going to serve you in the long run because you didn't have wings to begin with, but you're growing them now, and you have to strengthen those wings. You have to take the jump. You're never going to strengthen them standing where you are ever,
Absolutely.
right? And also knowing that like in that process, you might hit a couple of rocks on the way down because you didn't jump far enough, but like that doesn't mean you don't do it again. It just means you learn how to jump differently next time, right?
Right.
So yeah, it's gonna make your butthole pucker up a little bit. It's gonna make you throw up in your mouth, but those are times to lean in. But knowing when you want to lean into that is when you have that with your mentor or your coach or your guide or whomever. Because if we do it on our own, we're going to be like, oh, I've learned to listen to myself to keep myself safe. And yeah, you'll stay safe, but you'll also stay where you are, and you will not stay in growth, and you will not stay in success, because you're not going to get to success unless you fail a lot. And you're right. Like I couldn't agree with that more. I absolutely couldn't agree with that more. Now, what's interesting about what you said and what I'm going to take away from this, just I love learning from other people and other experts. So when I work with clients, I often have to have them get real with where they are. Right? You're here because they like to lie to themselves, right? So they'll be saying, "Yeah, no, I'm doing really good. I'm jumping off that cliff." I'm like, "No, you're not. You're just standing at the edge with a new pair of sneakers. You're not doing what you need to do." And so unless we're honest about where we are, we can never figure out where we need to go, right? But that painting of that vision can show you the path. So yeah, we need to acknowledge where we are, right? And I talk about that a lot. But so much of vision casting to where we need to be, because if we know where point A is and we know where point B is, really like point Z, then we can figure out B, C, D, E, and F to get us to that end point. And you have to have them both, right? You have to have them both. Vision casting is so huge. And I don't talk about it a lot on my social channels, but like I've done masterclass the last 2 years in December doing vision casting for the following year. And it's so, so crucial. So, a lot of what I do, I work with a lot of business owners, but in a very different way. And I work with them on making a business that matches their life, not letting time management get so out of control that now you just want to close your business because it's so overwhelming, right? Or neglecting your family and your partner and your person because you're so focused, and maybe in a great way, like you're so excited, but like you forget what the priorities are too, right? You've got to have the priorities, whatever they are, and the business to be able to marry together. So, how do you personally approach time management, running multiple businesses, and giving of yourselves to others, right? Being a coach means you're constantly giving. So, do you have
Yeah.
any scheduling techniques or anything that you rely on for time management?
Um, yes. One, I have, okay, I know I just, hold on, y'all. I put myself on do not disturb. I guess she sent me a notify anyway.
Oh,
Okay, so
I
like
love it.
my message is still coming through. One, I am quick to forget a meeting. I am so quick to forget one because my brain is
Yeah,
always moving, always,
yeah,
and I'm
yeah,
constantly
yeah.
being pulled everywhere. So I have like a personal calendar, and I don't
Yeah,
mean
yeah.
like a personal. I have a person that literally texts me and like, hey, I see that you have this. Are you dressed? I'm like, oh yeah, okay, about that.
Oh
Because I'll ignore a notification. My phone
my
is
God.
always
Really?
ringing. My phone
Really?
is always ringing, Amy. Like
Okay.
always. My husband's
Okay.
like,
Okay.
and I'm like, I know, I'm putting it on do not disturb
Right,
right
right,
now.
right, 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 right,
Yeah,
right. Oh
I
my
have to put it on
gosh.
sleep. My notifications are always coming in. Someone's
Yeah.
always on my phone until
Okay.
I'm like, all
Okay.
right, this is it. No more phone calls, right?
Okay. Okay.
So I literally have three different calendars. So I have my
Yeah.
person calendar, right? Um, and then my person calendar, we share a calendar through the iPhone app.
Okay.
So the
Okay.
calendar
Okay.
app.
Okay.
So I
Okay.
have a master schedule
Yep.
that
Yep.
everyone
Yep.
sees, my husband sees, myself sees,
Yep.
and
Yep.
then she sees as well. Shout out to
Cool.
Nasha. Love you, girl.
Oh,
Um, so we all get to see it. If something's happening, it's not like oh, you didn't tell me about that. I'm like, hey, check the calendar,
right.
right?
Right.
Um,
Right.
Also, I give myself alerts for every
Okay.
single event I have
Okay.
all the
Okay.
time
Okay. Okay.
because I get
Okay.
notifications. My phone is glued. So I'm
Right.
like, okay, tomorrow, and I do it a day before. Okay, so tomorrow, all of my things that I'm doing tomorrow pops up as an alert
Okay.
at the
Okay.
time it's supposed to happen. So my
Cool.
brain is already wired to say, okay, tomorrow at this
Yeah.
time, I'm going to be on live. Tomorrow at this
Okay.
time, I have a
Okay.
meeting with this person.
Okay.
And then I
Okay.
have a physical calendar. So last year we launched
Okay.
and sold physical calendars
Mm-hmm.
to our business owners. We're appointment
Cool.
people.
Cool.
And so I have that nice and cute. I love highlighters. I love colors.
Yeah.
So that's what I do on my Fridays. I plan for the next week. I
Cool.
don't do Sunday because by the time I have served for church,
Yeah.
all this other
Yeah.
extra stuff,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
I'm teaching, I'm tired.
For sure.
So I
For sure.
literally take Sundays as a reset day. Friday is the planning day for the next week.
Right,
So,
right. Okay, I love that. Yeah, Fridays are my CEO day, is what I call them.
mhm.
Like, I don't take clients on Fridays
Nope.
unless like I had to reschedule because I got sick or something. Like
Right.
it's an exception. But my calendar's locked down. They can't book it. It
Yes.
has to be a conversation, right? So I have so many questions about your person calendar. Is this a person that you hired? And if so, how did you find them? Like, how did you create this? Because you were the first person to ever tell me this, and I love it.
Yeah, yeah. I'm so sorry. People are driving by. But so she actually came to me. So we met in our women's group. So we have
Oh,
a small women's group, a young girls, a young women
awesome.
that meet together, have Bible study, all this good stuff, right?
Very cool.
And so she was like, I feel like God's pulling me to help you. And I was like,
I agree.
yes,
I
please.
agree.
And she was like, I'm not concerned about a check because I've had trauma with people like wanting to
Mhm,
help, but then
mhm.
they're like, I know you're a
Right.
money magnet and I know
Right.
that you're
Right.
favored and
Right.
you're always in
Right.
situations where you're always receiving and you're always
Yes.
giving. So I'm
Yes.
like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
she really became like my little sister and mentor because she
Oh my
wanted to open a
gosh.
business. So I was just like, let's barter
Yeah.
this up, sister girl. Let's
Yes.
go.
Yes.
If you want me to help you mentor, you don't have to pay me for that. You can help me
Okay.
run this business. And
Okay.
so shout out to Amy Capello. I had a nice little session with her, and she was just like, listen, girl, you run your schedule. And I'm like,
Mhm.
yeah, you're right. Say it. You're in control. I'm in control. Right. And so I was talking to her about it, and she was like,
Mhm.
okay, you need some kind of accountability like
Mhm.
sector.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
people think accountability is someone saying you didn't do something. Accountability is to yourself, truth be
Yes,
told.
it is. Yes, it
It's
is.
you taking responsibility of your own BS or your
That's
own
right.
success.
That's right.
I
That's
am
right.
in rap mode today, but yeah, and so she's technically my accountability partner, but she
Mhm,
actually
mhm,
helps with me just, hey sis, good morning, how you doing, how's everything going,
mhm,
let's recap real quick. Okay, great,
mhm.
wonderful. All right, let's talk about personal stuff now. All righty,
Right,
great. And then we
right.
go from there. Or she'll send me a text and be like, hey, you ready for this tomorrow? I'm
I
like, oh
love it. I
yeah, yeah.
love
And we
it.
do the
I
same
love
thing
it.
to each other. It's
Yeah.
reciprocal as well.
Yeah. Yeah. That's beautiful. That's really beautiful. I when I started my business a little over 5 years ago, right?
Mhm.
I had no boundaries because as a brand new business owner, everyone wanted to barter their services.
Mhm.
Everyone wanted like free coaching, in exchange for a testimonial or something. And right, all of these things have a place. So I'm not saying these things inherently in and of themselves
Absolutely.
are a bad thing. But it was about year and a half, 2 years into my business. I got diagnosed with stage
Mhm.
3 cancer not long after, like 8 months after starting it. So there was a hiatus and a pause in my business. So probably
Right.
about 2 years into it, if you count that year of
Mhm.
hiatus, I finally was like, and we're done. Like people ask me all the time to barter service. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I don't like, absolutely not. And if it's a service that I'm really interested in and can find value in, you can pay me and I will pay you. But we are not, because energetically it does feel different, right? I found that I was giving 100 times more than I was receiving. I was giving just incredible stuff, and then what was promised on the other end wasn't happening. Or just energetically, it was different. I was giving so much into the coaching, and the service in return was like, I mean, it was happening, right? But it was like, I remember one time, it was going to be like, I don't know, 4 or 5 coaching sessions in exchange for 4 or 5 of her services, which were about the same time, right? And it was time for her to guide me on this service. And it was like 15 minutes, and she closed her laptop and then just went into a personal conversation. And I was like, that was it. That was the moment where I was like, never again, never again, absolutely never again. So how did you start creating boundaries in your business that served you? Is there anything that you could offer new business owners, especially who almost may feel like they have to give away everything because they're new and they don't have a foundation to stand on? What would you offer them on like, here's some good guidelines on boundaries around your time, your energy, your efforts in what could serve you in a reciprocal way, right? Like, what would you offer
Yeah.
there?
So I'm gonna plug somebody. I cannot wait to come out with this merch. I am so excited for it. But I tell people all the time, get you a Sharonda. And people are like, what the heck does that mean? So I have
Okay.
a clinical therapist friend
Okay.
that I
Okay.
have known since college. And I cannot give my boundaries any credit to myself. They were created through her.
Okay. Okay.
Um, and so Naja kind of like seeded it. She was just
Mm-hmm.
like,
Mm-hmm.
Alexis, you got to stop giving so much.
Right.
And I was
Right.
just like, what
Right.
do you mean? I'm here to serve. Like, I'm trying to do everything
Right.
I can because people
Right.
really need it. I'm here to help
Right.
people, this and this, da da
Right.
da.
Right.
And she's
Right.
just like, yes, this, but it's pushing on
Right.
borderline abuse to your
Right.
own self.
Right.
And I was just like,
Right.
okay, now I have to hear it twice. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I'm
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
heartbroken.
Yeah.
So sorry.
Yeah.
So I was sitting down and talking to Sharonda. So
Hmm.
Sharonda, actually, we were bartering services, right?
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
was giving
Yeah.
coaching and she was giving therapy, technically.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so I ended up getting my life certification, life
Hmm.
coaching certification. I was
Hmm.
just like, hey, I know you're a therapist and I don't want to
Hmm.
tiptoe on the lines of therapy. And she was
Hmm.
just like,
Hmm.
okay. Well, it turned into a therapy session for me.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
And she was just like, Alexis, what does it look like? Like, what is this looking like? Because
Hmm.
I know you know
Hmm.
how to run it, but
Hmm.
you're not looking at it from an ego view. You're just looking at
Ooh.
trees.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
There's a
Okay.
forest to this thing.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
How do we make sure we don't have to deforest? Because you have so much emphasis on this tree. And
So
the
good.
tree that you have emphasis on is one, your self care looks like making sure your schedule is right and your schedule actually makes sense for your life. And two, that you create some
Hmm.
boundaries.
Hmm.
And I was like, what do you
Hmm.
mean? And she's like, you absolutely, the way that you talk, the
Hmm.
energy that you give,
Hmm.
and regardless of what you say, how people feel when they walk away from you is not worth $25 an hour. Absolutely not. I said, excuse me? So my brain is like, well, my target market and this and that.
Right, right, right.
And she was just like, no. And after she said that, it unlocked me where I
Hmm.
started even like my virtual mentor. So Myron
Hmm.
Golden is my virtual mentor.
Hmm.
I'm like, he's the king of offers. He's the king of what you're providing has to have a price that makes sense.
Hmm.
And people won't
Hmm.
respect it unless the price makes sense.
There
And I said, So I'm a bad girl. I'm a handbag girl all
it
day
is.
long.
Hmm. Hmm.
I said, I do throw around my Michael Kors bags and my Walmart bags that I have. And my Louis Vuitton bag is wrapped up. It's all under is everything's in the dust bag. My Brahmins are in the dust bag. My Dooney Burks are in the everything's in their dust bag because of their price point. I said, hold on, wait a minute. Are people just throwing me around their room because I'm treating myself like a Walmart bag? I said, ooh, because I'm getting these people that's like, oh yeah, this is great, this is good, and then you're not producing anything.
Right,
And
right.
guess what that does? It reflects on you as a business owner.
That's
It
exactly right.
reflects on your service. It
That's
reflects on
exactly
your
right.
products.
That's exactly right. That's
Selling
exactly
them
right.
something for $8
That's
reflects on
exactly
what you
right.
think about your brand.
That's exactly right. That's
And
exactly
so when
right.
I tell you it's $3,000 to work with me in
Yeah,
6 months,
yeah.
I'm going to produce you something
That's
because
right.
I don't want you to go out here and say, I pay her $3,000 for nothing.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
And I
Exactly.
need you to make 9 times what you're paying
Right.
into me. So my
Right.
ROIs are going to flip.
Right.
I know this for sure. I've done all the case studies.
That's
I've
right.
done all the research. I know what I can produce and I know what I
Exactly.
can't produce.
Exactly.
So now that I know that, I know the boundary is this price.
Yep. Yep.
And then whenever I see fit to then provide you with a service that's not of charge,
Hmm. Hmm.
I'm still going to give you the opportunity to understand what I'm giving you.
That's
I
right.
was introduced to nullified invoices, which means that if I do give you a free service, I'm still
Yep.
going to send you an invoice
That's right.
for
That's
the
right.
value of it.
Exactly.
So you'll
Exactly.
understand it and treat it like the Louis Vuitton and not
Yes. Yes.
the Walmart
Yes.
bag.
Exactly.
But yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. I love that. I learned that about 6 months ago myself. And
Yeah.
yes, 100%. 100%. So this is going to be a little funny what I'm going to say here, but my background is in biology. So I think through things through the view of science and nature. Like there's so many metaphors that I bring in. Yeah, like my heart's just there. So I was watching, I wanted my son and my husband to see Food Inc. And we watched it over the weekend. And there's a Food Inc. 2 that I did not know had come out, and I
Mhm.
hadn't seen it. So they were so engrossed in the information and just minds were blown. I used to show it to my students when I was a biology teacher. Like you didn't leave my class without seeing it. But so we all decided to watch Food Inc. 2 together. So this is fascinating. So Pepsi
Mhm.
hired a lady at Stanford, Yale, I can't remember, excuse me, one of the top colleges, because they asked her to come up with a 0 calorie product that had the most bang for its buck on taste. So you want to feel the sweetness, you want to feel the goodness, you want to feel the like, oh my gosh, I want to go buy 15 more of those because they're amazing
Mhm.
without the cost of the calories, right? Without the cost of the calories. So they did this incredible study where they had, I think it was 6 or 7 varieties of a drink, and they all had the same flavor profile of sweetness. So sweetness was neutral, it was a controlled, same level. So let's just say 75. That was the example she gave in the program. And then they had 6 or 7, whatever it was, varying levels of calories from 0 incrementally up to like 200 or whatever, right? And they had people in an MRI machine, which is this is the science nerdy geeky, in an MRI machine where they had a tube of liquid and they tasted each one of them and they monitored their brain. So there was no feedback on color, on smell, it was very controlled for taste versus calorie, but they had no way to know which one the calorie level was. And it also was not qualitative data. It was not, oh, that one's pretty good. It was your brain's response to how you're interpreting this experience that you're having, right? So very, very based in data and based in science, right? So, what they found was, and this was fascinating, was let's say the sweetness level was 75, right? That again is the example she gave there. When the sweetness level, this is going to blow your mind, when the sweetness level matched the calorie level, was the peak enjoyment of that drink, i.e., when the price matches what you're getting, when your investment, when your cost matches, right? The sweetness that you're getting out of it, the goodness that you're getting, the results that you're getting, the change that you want to make, the thing you want to produce. That was where our brains are trained to get the highest value and the highest benefit. Now, also here, which was really interesting, is they monitored processing, the cellular uptake of it, and that was a sweet spot on your body's processing of that liquid. So if at 0 calories, our brains said, oh, yeah, like physiologically, our bodies are like, oh, there are no calories here. But our brain was like, there should have been, though. There should have been. Like the sweetness level is telling me there should have been. And so what we end up doing is seeking out more sweetness because there were 0 calories and it was absolutely empty. So there's an argument to just go ahead and have the regular sugar Coke because it's going to actually be metabolized by your body better because the sweetness matched the cost. It is absolutely fascinating. So when it comes to your business and your energy give and your energy gain, it's got to match. It's got to be balanced, or else it's not going to work. It's not going to work in your results. It's not going to work in your feeling good about the investment that you made, whether it was too little or too big. It's got to match. It's got to be lined up. I love it. I just love it so much. I didn't think I'd be sharing that today, but I love it.
It's okay. I'm a food scientist. I have a degree in food science. So you were talking my language. I'm like, yeah.
Oh my gosh, I learned so much about you. Yeah.
Right. I'm so sorry. The neighbors across the street are like building on their house. Can you hear them?
Oh, no, I can't hear them at all. But my neighbor across
Perfect.
the street is also getting a new roof. So we just
Right.
got a lot of noise around
I'm
us today trying to drown us out.
like, they were so quiet and now they're building.
No, no, I can't hear a thing. You are all good.
Perfect.
Yeah, so go watch Food Inc. too, because if you
Yes.
have a degree in food science, you will love it. But yeah, thank you so much for sharing all of this. I have written down three phrases that you said today that I'm actually gonna have to work in somewhere to my social media posts and tag you in them because thank you for them. But okay, so BDR consultants, Alexis, Danielle, I'm gonna tag her in LinkedIn. I'm gonna tag her on Instagram. The best way to reach you, how would you want people to connect with you?
So my favorite way to be connected is through socials. So you can
Yay!
find me at Alexis Danielle on Facebook, or you can find me at Alexis Danielle underscore BDR on Instagram and TikTok.
Perfect.
Or you can go to the website, book
Perfect.
consultation, send me a nice
Awesome. I
message.
love it. Yes. Thank you so much for this. I cannot wait to share, even more good stuff that you're putting out. And I know that whoever was watching today, or catching this on replay has learned
Yeah.
a ton of things.